this is Jessica DeMassa in the GuideWell Insights Lounge. I'm here at Singularity University's Exponential Medicine, and right now I'm being joined by a special guest. We have Dr. Chris Hillier. Chris is the Chief Scientific Officer and Chief Operating Officer for GuideWell Innovation. Chris, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jessica. It's lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you. So you've watched the last 4 days of xMed, and I'm curious to know, from your perspective, what are some of the innovation trends that are going to be driving us forward in terms of transforming the healthcare industry?
Great question. Very difficult question. A lot to talk about. But essentially, we're seeing the same improvements or advances in artificial intelligence and nanotechnology and biotech that we expect to see here. And that's great, and it's moving exponentially as we expect. I think the big trend that I'm seeing is a move towards the integration of the human element. So taking into account things like emotions and empathy and connectivity seems to be much bigger this year than previous years, which I think is really important,
right,
especially for GuideWell and our interest in things like behavioral health. So this trend to connect the technology and all of these advances much more to the human, I think is a major trend that I'm seeing.
Yeah, we've been seeing that here in the lounge as well. There's been a lot more talk about behavioral health and really how to integrate that better into the existing healthcare system. So what kinds of things have you been hearing along those lines? How do we make behavioral health and mental health really a part of the existing system?
Yeah, and it's tough. The way that medicine has evolved over the years, it focuses on technology, it focuses on new drugs, and new treatments and new diagnostics, which is fantastic. But in all of that equation, the actual patient, the member, the human person at the center of it is often forgotten.
Right.
They're part of the equation, but they really should be the center of the equation. And I think from the perspective of health systems and payers, and certainly from the perspective of the patient, or we should really say the consumer now, we want to see the technology, obviously, but we want to see that on the periphery,
right,
on the edges, as some of the presenters here talk about. So in the edges, yes, we want these amazing advances, but the human has to remain the center of it. So as we focus more on the human, I think we see all sorts of benefits. We see improvement in health, obviously, the main one, but we can also improve costs. We can improve efficiency. People can spend more time at home than in hospitals. Mm-hmm. They can spend more time with their family than having, traveling backwards and forwards in treatment. So technology is great.
Right.
And this, the advances we're seeing in artificial intelligence, for example, are so important. But now that we're seeing this integration with the human being, I'm really excited because I think that's where we need to be.
Definitely. So tell me a little bit more. I know you just mentioned about transforming the cost and the cost model around healthcare and health delivery. We've been hearing a lot about that in the lounge too. Yeah. And so what do you think needs to happen really to disrupt the existing finance model in order to be able to better make the experience more patient and consumer and person focused?
Yeah, and I don't want to keep hammering on the technology. The technology is important, but often much simpler technology, much simpler methodology. If you went really right back to basics, as we heard a lot this week, mindfulness, meditation, no technology involved, just education. And of course there are new technologies like Muse, for example, that can help you do things like meditate, mindfulness. So we can reduce costs in very simple ways, in a low-tech way.
Right.
And that's very important. It means that it's available for everyone. Mm-hmm. We've heard a lot here about the democratization, and that's almost like the last stage of innovation. And the democratization of all of these great technologies is going to mean that anyone, your mom, my great aunt Edna, my children are going to have access to this amazing technology, but they're not going to see it as technology. They're just going to see it as ways to make them feel better.
Right.
And that has these huge knock-on effects all the way down the line, so that we just don't rely so much on medicines, on diagnostics, etc. So that's very exciting for us, I think.
Excellent. So one more question I want to ask you, as we're sitting here at Exponential Medicine and we are hearing about all of these real leading edge technologies, and then even some of the shifts in paradigm and our thinking about health and wellness and what it means to have a healthcare system.
Yeah.
What are you most optimistic about for the future of healthcare?
Of course, that's very that depends on your particular context. For me, I'm honestly most excited in seeing the large structures that we rely on just now, like universities and hospitals and in clinics. What Ray Kurzweil actually said famously just recently is that these are going to disappear. These huge constructs are old technology. They're soon going to dissolve into the community. And I'm so excited about a world not far off where people can be at home and go to their sports clubs and hang out with their kids, and all of this medicine thing will all just be part of their lives. It will be integrated into their communities, into their homes, and we won't have to leave that and go to a hospital. If we want to learn, we won't have to leave our home and go to a university. For me, that's so exciting. It changes humanity, it changes the world.
That's really the beauty of innovation, right? Is that power to create a better world.
It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, Chris, it's such a pleasure to speak with you always. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Jessica DeMassa from the GuideWell Insights Lounge here at Singularity University, Exponential Medicine.
Thank you.